logo for my software. And it's quite old. You see here some screenshots of one of my tools running on Windows 98, NT, and now on Windows XP. It's also running on Linux, on Darwin, and former versions were also running on Sun and SGI. That's all the platforms I've been working on. That was the main intention why I developed my own tool, so I have some kind of application of features available on each of these platforms, so I don't have to switch back and forth. So what do these tools include? Lots of my tools are working with images, so we have an image viewer, image browser, we have an image comparison program, and there is also programs or applications for directory comparison on file comparison. So what are they based on? Of course, Tiki-TK. The newest version is working with 8.6. We have, of course, tablelists. So if I show you then the programs a little bit online, you will see in every second or third window popping up a table list. Of course, TK image, because I'm, as I told you, we are working mainly with images, and the TWAPI extension for some Windows-related automation of copying images back and forth. Then I have started in 1999 working on these tools, so I have developed my own Tcl and TK-lib, more or less, and I have a C-based image extension for handling the images. Also, you can see it here, lots of the functionality which is included in the C-based stuff is also available in pure Tcl code. Some of these I have found on the wiki, some of these then I have developed myself, and I put everything together in a small utility package which is on the wiki for some time now. It can be used, but it's, let's say, usable mostly only for images which are very small, 200 to 300 pixels. Otherwise, all these Tcl-based commands are much too slow. So here is a little bit of the time. As I said, I started in 1999 working on these tools. Look at that. One thing I started is, because I always worked on 3D images, formerly ray tracing, as you saw in the images, later on then real-time graphics. I wanted to have a look at these images, and at work we also had the need to work with these old formats coming from the Sun and SGI formats, and that's where I started working with and on the TK image. And in the next years I implemented lots of file format parsers for the TK image extension. In 2000 I implemented my third tool, the image comparison program. In 2002 I first mentioned my PO tools when I was talking about the work I have done on TK image. Then in 2005, let's say my PO tools, then every time I needed a new functionality for myself, I implemented. In 2005, when I started working on Tcl3D, well, I did not work very much on that because Tcl3D took my full attention. In 2008, I gave another talk together with Jan Lippmans about the TK image, about the new version, which now was tier enabled, so it architecture. And since 2011, I have made, I've used it as an experimentation lab to get it, or to try to look it, to get them look nicely. So one thing was to use TCL 8.5 and rewrite all the codes to use the TTK widgets. This was okay. You could do it, but it's still some work. Most of the time it's really fits to just put a TTK double condenser in front of it, but lots of other stuff you have to fine tune. But let's say it was good to do it because it really has now a much better look. And this year I started to use the new 8.6, which we have waited so long, and tried to let it run with the new version. And in that way, formally all these tools were separate applications in a separate startpack, and I rewrote all that stuff by putting the tools itself in an extra namespace so they can be used from one startpack, and if you call one of the applications from the other, you don't have to call an external application, but it's just a function call to another procedure. So here I have some slides showing main features of my tools. These I won't show here, they are just for reference. If you look through that stuff at home, but I will show you a little bit of these applications, what they can do online here. Also have an icon, and as I told you, there are currently 6 applications: the image viewer, image browser, simple bitmap editor, an image comparison program, directory comparison, and a file diff. While the file diff is not programmed by me, but it's the standard TK diff, and I modified it slightly so it fits into the namespacing hierarchy. You can just click on one of the icons to open up a specific tool. You can also drag and drop support, so you can, for example, drag 2 directories onto it, and then it opens automatically the right tool, in that case the directory diff. So you can now select, okay, I want to show the difference between the 2 directories, and you have 4 windows, one with the files which are only available in the left directory, one with the files only in the right, and the list which are different and exist in both. You have some color coding, that means the green ones are the newer files, and you can also select colors for the different type of files. So you easily see, for example, red or make files, or the these magenta files or image files. You can, of course, set all these things in different settings, so you can define your own file types. You can set, okay, different names, image files, make files, and you can define some clock style patterns, so which to determine which file patterns belong to an image file. You can also select our external programs for which program to use for a graphical diff, which one to use for editing, and which one to use for an hex edit or hex view of that file type. can, as I said, use external programs, or if nothing is in it, it uses the built-in stuff. So if I click on a Tclify, for example, then the tk-diff opens up. If I have a image file, okay, I know. But if I click on an image, then in that case the external application opens up. So these are the main features of the diff program. You have also a context menu where you can synchronize directories. You can copy or move files from the different applications, copy to left, move to left, or delete files. You can touch them, so you put the current date on it, convert them to the different line ending styles. I have also an open directory which works on all platforms to open the current Explorer file. And what I'm using also very often, and here is the first usage of a table list. It's a search and replace window, so I have a list of patterns I already searched, and I can search for that stuff either in the left or in the right directory. And if I click on the selection list, I can step through the found places. That's a standard text widget, so I can, if it's small changes, I can directly edit them here, or of course I can open up a change that I don't want to save it, or I can use the external stuff to open an editor and play around too much. Yeah. And you can, of course, do a search and replace that stuff.
So it replaces in all files?
It replaces in the files you select here. Formerly I had that it replaces in all, but now you can, with a Ctrl-A, you can either select all and then it replaces it. And what's interesting or I found useful is, let's say if I want to replace my name with another name, you can also, before you do the search and replace, you can also do this stuff. That's what I wanted to tell is that you also can search for the replace pattern. So before, if you do it in source code, for example, and you want to replace a function name to another one, you can see whether this function already exists. Otherwise, you get into trouble. Directories containing only files. So if I click on an image type, then automatically the image diff program gets up. So you see the two images side by side. If you just watch them by this way, you don't see any difference. I use these tools extensively when working on my ray tracing program, because I wanted to have my ray tracer get identical results on Sun, SGI, Mac, etc. pp. So here you see I have version with maximum speed on Linux, and here you have the same on Windows. I'll just open up another file which is more nice. So this was a very difficult numerical problem. You have very fine structures in the image of this tree, and visually you don't see any difference. You have open up a zooming rectangle which shows you the corresponding parts in the image, so you can visually inspect it, but in this example you also visually don't see any difference. So there's a show difference image algorithm in it. So you can either say, okay, I have a threshold, so I want to see every pixel which are totally different. If they differ only by one value. So you see the two images have more than 500 differing pixels. Also visually you don't see any difference. You can adjust with a slider, so you say, okay, which pixels have more than 4 grayscale values difference. It's only 82. And to see where all these differences occur, you can mix the difference image with the underlying image. So you see where in the image the differences are, and you see they are mostly in the texture of the ground and in the very small branches of the tree. On the right you see a histogram of the intensity of the difference image. You can also see either logarithmic or linear histogram of the left and right image. Here again tables comes into, so you can click on either value and it will be shown here. Here you see the lines with black values are identical, and all the lines which have red colored values are differing in the histogram. So you can also see where the differences occur mostly. So that's an image difference program. You can
compare the difference between the two pictures.
Yeah.
Do you have C routines like that?
Yeah. That's what I call the PO extension, because doing this in PureTick is much slow. It works if you have 200 pixels up, but if you have HD images over that size, it's much too slow.
You make this in script?
No, because that C routines I had written 15 years ago, and they are still in there. I once thought about maybe switching to GRIP, or these routines also have lots of other stuff in it, so I thought about either switching to GRIP or and break or put all the other stuff out of my extension. It's needed one. Yeah. So the other stuff is you can of course select one or more, and open it in the image viewer. So you have a list of thumbnails, all the images which have been loaded in. You can just click on them. You have an image info where you have not only width and height, tile the image so you get a greater image, so you can tile this stuff, and the noise images are programmed in such a way that they tile perfectly. So that's important if you use this, for example, as textures or 3D models, which are repeated on a ground, for example. Of course, you can tile the images and mirror them, then you get something like that. You can zoom in or out, so we have a mirrored tiled image. Another stuff I have written once, you can the list of open directories and other stuff. So here I have an image from last conference, so that we don't forget to make a group photo. and what I have written, but not for that application, but for another private stuff, is I wanted to have so-called HTML maps. So if we had school stuff and we had 10 or 20 pictures of all the school classes, and we put them onto the internet, and nobody knew which one was who. And so I wrote this little tool because I didn't find anything on the web. So either you can start new, or you can load an already HTML file, and then because the image is on a canvas, you can see, okay, this is the guy here. You can select all that stuff. You can add a new, for example, rectangle or a new shape. So I have one here, I put it into him. So I would give it a name, Dorian. And of course, it's too slow, so I can easily adjust the size of the rectangle so it fits. And what you get from, if you save this, you will get something like that. It's an HTML file, and if you put this into your web together with an image, if you move the mouse over it, it will display the text you entered here.
When you click, you take it to the URL.
Yeah, if you put in a reference,
Yes.
that's which is.
You did it for yourself.
Yeah, I did it only in this example for myself. So these are the names which are shown in the reference. If you click on it, where you will be gone to. So another feature I have once put into so-called logo editor. So you can select an image with a transparency map, for example, and just select where in the image it should be shown. So in this way, we have it in the light. Maybe we can choose smaller ones. You can say, okay, it's in the middle or in the left, and then you put it onto your image, or you can put them onto all images. And all of these, most of these features I have shown you are also available from the command line, so you can run that stuff in batch mode too. I think the most stuff, and you can convert between all the image types or image files available from TK image. So you have also these image types which are available from TK image, and if these images have some options, you can switch them on or off. Which one is? My format is. There's lots of options, and you can see which read or write options are currently switched on, and you can change them when reading them. This is an image browser. This was formerly built into the image view, and I have made it into a separate application. You have a tree view where you can see, okay, which images or files are in that directory. You can put a filter, you want to see all files, or you want to see only images or specific image types. If you move over the table widget lines, again, you see a preview here, and you can directly, let's say, open them up into the image viewer. You can also, let's say, if you have select them all, you can also view them in full screen and make a little slideshow, for example, with or without image information. And you also have some access to the file system. You can rename files or copy and move them to another place. So these are the main features of these tools. So all of these features, I have a slide, so if you want to look at that, but I now switch over them. I think I have shown everything. Different settings. Okay, so come to the end. Let's say these are tools I developed in the last 14 years. They are mainly for my personal needs. So every time I needed a new feature and I wanted to have it in an application where I know, okay, I have it on each platform I'm working on. So I implemented it in some kind. And in the last 2 or 3 years, I used them to learn about the new features of TK and Tcl, and especially the TT-Carve or tile widgets, and tried and wanted to know, okay, how can I make a TK application look nice? Is it possible or not? The newest version, 2.0, is not available yet. It's written down, but I will upload it in next days, I think. I didn't get it ready for the conference. And you see the wish list, which more or less goes into what we want to discuss next. We have seen not only my talk, but all the talks previously, Java's, Thomas, and Franz, they all not only use pure Tcl, but also TK. So, and the problem is, okay, TK works. If you put some effort in it, it looks nice on Windows, Linux, etc. But what about all these new platforms, mobiles, tablets, etc.? So that's something my personal and Arnold, I think lots of other people, there is no, let's say, roadmap or something like that. Will that be ever possible to get my applications running on my Android tablet or not?
Excuse me?
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what's about TK itself. Is TK already available? And if I think about TK, what's about TK?
I don't know exactly, but I think there are some TK interpreters running on Android. I don't know whether they are quite stable. I haven't looked into
These
detail.
are only experimental versions, and they don't have TK at all.
Yeah.
Only some very generic stuff right now.
Yeah.
But before before going that direction, I wanted to have some discussion, which is the following, to just get some common understanding which direction we as a group want to go, because there are lots of possibilities. Doing all the stuff is not possible, so we are not as many people to do all the stuff. So we have to decide which we think is the best direction to go.
I think these demonstrations show that in principle Tcl runs on Android, for example.
Yes.
It's not yet a stable or official version, but other problems or wish lists we have is, okay, how we proceed with TK with a nice integration between our favorite language and a graphical user interface. And that's, I think, we want to discuss that now. I think you have prepared some introductory slides.